All right, good morning. I am pleased to be joined by a number of people who you're going to hear from in just a moment, but I'd like to acknowledge the mayor, Malik Evans, who's joining us here today, President of the Monroe County Legislature, Eversha Roman, who's here, David Scott, the Monroe County Chief Diversity Officer and Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Davin Searles, a local and global deaf advocate and one of the three initial members of the initiative that we're announcing here today. And I would also like to acknowledge my friend Dr. Jerry Buckley from Rochester. He's president of the National Technical Institute for the Deaf at the Rochester Institute of Technology. I also want to acknowledge a couple of guests who are here today for this critical announcement. Ray Kenny, the co-chair of the Monroe County Language Access Coalition, and Steve Lovey, the chair of the Town of Henrietta Diversity Committee, and he's also the president of the Empire State Association of the Deaf. And I'd like to acknowledge Chris Campbell, Deaf Equity Director at the University of Rochester. And of course, thank all of you for joining us today for this important announcement. So today marks an important step towards a more inclusive and equitable Monroe County and City of Rochester. In partnership with Mayor Malik Evans and the City of Rochester, Monroe County has created a Deaf Equity Council, also known as the DEC, that is dedicated to advocating for the rights, access, and well-being of deaf-blind, and hard-of-hearing individuals in our community. The mayor and I both believe strongly that Monroe County and the City of Rochester, every individual of all language and all cultures deserve to thrive. The DEC will serve as a vital advisory body, ensuring that the voices and experiences of deaf individuals are not only heard, but are centered in our policy decisions, legislative actions, and community initiatives that shape our county's future. This work is critical because here in Monroe County, the percent of our population that is deaf or hard of hearing is well above the national average. And in fact, we have the largest deaf and hard of hearing per capita population in the entire United States of America. This council will help us to examine our policies through that lens, ensuring that accessibility and language rights are upheld as fundamental human rights. The gaps and barriers to language access really came to light during the pandemic, at a time when our governments were trying to get critical information to all of our residents. Since that time, we've worked to improve those language gaps, but the DEC will be able to take that work another step further. Through outreach, advocacy, and collaboration, the DEC will continue to work to eliminate barriers, reduce disparities in language access, and foster a community where deaf residents have the same opportunities to participate, engage, and succeed. Accessibility must be embedded into every aspect of our public life. Whether residents visit our county office buildings, City Hall across the street, file paperwork at the clerk's office here, access to health care in our hospital systems, use of our parks, traveling through our airport, equity has to be a priority so that everyone has the ability to access all of those services. Whether it's improving ASL language accessibility, expanding resources, or ensuring that the Americans with Disabilities Act is not only met, but exceeded, this council will be a driving force for positive and lasting change. So I want to express my deepest gratitude to Monroe County Chief Diversity Officer David Scott, ADA, David, our ADA Manager Elizabeth Butcher, who's here as well, Language Access Coordinator, Jesus Pash. Where's Jesus? I saw you when I walked in. Oh, there you are. Hi, Jesus. Mayor Malik Evans. Let's give Mayor Malik Evans a round of applause. And the dedicated members of the Deaf Equity Council for their leadership in making this council a reality. Your commitment, your expertise will have a lasting impact on this community. I also want to give a special thank you to the President of the Monroe County Legislature, President Eversha Roman. President Roman's advocacy and taking the initial steps to move this initiative forward, but she has also been a steadfast advocate for language access across county government and our community. I want to thank you for that. And also to our deaf and hard of hearing residents. This council is for you, it is by you, and it is with you. We urge community members to get involved. We urge our community to share their perspectives to help us shape a Monroe County where every individual, including those who use ASL to communicate, can thrive and participate. So right now, we have 3 DEC representatives. Davin Searles, you'll hear from in just a bit, Steve Lovey, and Ray Kenny. But we want to expand participation to reflect the full diversity of our community and also to help us generate bold, innovative ideas. So we ask the community for your help. Anyone that is interested, we'd ask you to please sign up for the Deaf Equity Council. We have 3 ways that the community can help and participate. Number 1, visit our website, monroecounty.gov, to fill out an application. You can call our dedicated video phone number to communicate in ASL. The number is 585-206-1090. Or you can email us at defequity@monroecounty.gov. Global icon and disability rights activist Helen Keller said it best. Alone, we can do so little, but together, we can do so much. Together, we are building a future that is more accessible, it's more inclusive, and it's more just for everyone who calls Monroe County home. So next, I'd like to bring up, so this is about partnership. Monroe County government cannot do this all by ourselves. And I have an incredible partner who is standing up for everyone who calls our community home and wants everyone in our community to succeed. And I am so lucky to have a partner in Mayor Malik Evans in doing the work here that we're announcing today. So I'd like to invite Mayor Evans to come up and say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'll be brief. Just thank you, Mr. County Executive, for bringing us together. What you see here today is an example of partnerships. You often hear me say over and over again. I know my staff gets tired of me saying that it's we, not me. And this is an example of it being we, not me, bringing the county and city governments together, but also all of the partners that are here that you'll be hearing from in a moment. So I want to thank the county executive and the county legislative president, Eversha Roman, for helping to pull this all together, because we realized that we could not do this by ourselves. And the Rochester area is fortunate to have an active and engaged deaf and hard of hearing community. And you heard the county executive state that stat of more deaf and hard of hearing people per capita than anywhere else in the country. So it's important that we make sure that we are inclusive in our community, because no one should be left behind regardless of their ability. And what the county is proposing today, and what we're proposing together, is a new way to tap that potential through the Deaf Equity Council. This is something Adam and I have discussed before, and I think we will all benefit when our residents are involved and know they can contribute to local government. Residents should know that they're not shut out, that they can come on in, and this will allow us to open that doors. And whether it's a person reporting a pothole or a crime, we want to know, and we rely on our residents, because Adam and I and our staffs can't be everywhere all at once. So you have to have individuals that are aware with their antennae up, figuring out what is going on in the community. And I think past administrations and even my administrations have tried to accommodate people who are deaf or hard of hearing by providing interpreters when someone asks or we know it's needed. But that's easy for me to say because I'm not deaf. And that's why this council is so very, very important. It's always helpful to hear from folks directly affected. And this council, set up by Monroe County and the city, will give us the input we need to be more effective. And the city of Rochester is proud that so many deaf folks have made this community their home, and we want them to feel at home. And toward that end, I hope the deaf community will work with us to make this a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community for everyone. And the funny thing about accommodations is the way they often help people we never expected. We can build ramps for wheelchairs, and suddenly every parent is pushing a stroller has also caught a break too. So this council really isn't a gift to our deaf community. It's a call to join hands with us all and help make Rochester and Monroe County all that it can be. So I thank the county executive. He is just a great partner on every big issue or big initiative in this community. We just don't say, oh, go over to the county and let them do it. Oh, go over to the city and let them do it. We always end up coming together to solve issues together. We were just together 4 or 5 times last week, all talking about ways in which the county and city could work together. I thank our deaf community for willing to be coming and working with us and providing your expertise and knowledge. We need it and we thank you. And if this interests you, as the county executive says, if you think you can represent an aspect of the deaf community and have something to contribute, I want to urge you, and I'll reiterate what the county executive said, to email the county at defequity@monroecounty.gov. That's defequity@monroecounty.gov. And I want you to know that we here at the city will also be listening to you too. And I want to thank my city staff that's been involved in this partnership. Thank you for being here. And I thank the county and city staffs for all of their hard work in bringing this to fruition. It's been a long time coming, but remember, you got to plant the seeds and then they bloom. And today we're seeing the first, the results of the seeds that were planted, and now this council is blooming. So thank you all so much for having me. And I think, Adam, you want me to introduce the next person? Sure. And next up, we're going to have President Eversha Roman, who the county executive has said has been a major player and major pusher of language access across this county, and I thank her for her persistence. Madam President.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Eversha Roman, and as mentioned, I am president of the legislature, and I am truly thrilled to be here today. Around 2017, I was approached with a question. Was there anyone in the community that gathered to advocate and educate about the need for language access in Monroe County? After a bit of research, it was determined that there was no collective effort currently occurring in our community at the time. So I, along with Lucia Colindres Vasquez and Marlene Cortez, formed the Language Access Coalition. It truly is a coalition of its kind, where both hearing and LEP and deaf communities collaborate, educate, and advocate for change in our community. It was instrumental in creating the Language Access Coordinator position here in Monroe County, for example. And it truly is one of the reasons why we are here today. Oftentimes, as policymakers, we aren't able to see the fruits of our labor. For me, the work this community has done the last 8 years has been directly tied to the advocacy of individuals with lived experiences who need support to be heard and understood. In about 2020, the conversation of having a DEC truly began to form. The ask per advocates was, they were seeking equitable representation when it comes to city-county decisions, policy development, specifically for the use of their tax money and dollars. Deaf HOA community members wanted to be included from the get-go rather than an afterthought. To me, they explained how they felt they were always on the outside looking in. Despite the fact that the greater Rochester area is known for having the highest number of deaf people per capita in the nation, as was mentioned previously, oftentimes quality of life does not reflect that reality. The Deaf Equity Council will directly connect the county executive and the mayor, ensuring that all programs, as well as the legislature, ensuring that all programs and major events include deaf representation and lived experience from the start, rather than as an afterthought. I'm truly proud of the work being done by my colleagues in government, as the DEC will help county and city government to better understand how to meet the needs of the deaf and hard of hearing community, to better become partners within the community at large. This is supporting the city's 2024 plan, which specifically said they wanted to support and participate in the creation of a deaf community master plan by deaf Rochesterians. And here we are today. I can't stress enough how marginalized deaf people are. Statistically, they are a small population in Monroe County and are geographically dispersed. Many experience language deprivation and limited incidental learning from an early age, which has a long effect on their life and their education. Extremely diverse in terms of race, ethnicity, gender, identity, sexual orientation. They truly are our neighbors. Some things that most individuals who don't have the pleasure of learning from individuals with lived experience is that you wouldn't know that many do not use English fluently. Thus, in the hearing world, it can be difficult to express your needs or navigate the system. And still, even those who are fluent in English still face power dynamics that favor hearing people, interpreters, and interpreting agencies. For example, if someone is not satisfied with their interpreter, they're typically put in the awkward position of voicing this through their interpreter. I would not have known that hadn't I had the time to sit and learn from individuals in the deaf community. So DEC will get us the direct feedback and collaboration needed to help address quality of life concerns that the county and the city have purview over. Thank you to David Scott for championing this effort, to the mayor and county executive for their support of and with the deaf community, and to the deaf community for your relentless advocacy to get a seat at the table that you more than deserve. Thank you very much. And next, I introduce David Scott, Chief Diversity Officer.
Thank you, Madam President. And thank you to everyone who has come here today. I'm very excited because it's been about a year that I met Steve, Ray, and Davin in my office. And I have to tell you, it was a very enlightening conversation. I thought I knew a lot about the world in general. And the older you get, you realize you don't really know that much. So first of all, I thank you for educating me and really giving me your direct experience, because that's something that I can always relate to. So it was definitely a charge for me to push this initiative forward. What I was excited about was when I brought it up to the county executive and the mayor's office, it was an automatic yes. It was a matter of build the framework, let's work on this and get this going. There was no hemming and hawing. It was, let's do this. So I'm really excited to work for the county and live in a county that really cares about all of its citizens. And I really, really want to thank our CE and our mayor for their dedication and support to all of the citizens that live in this county and the city. Thank you for all that you do. And again, I want to thank the members of the deaf community for entrusting us and really building something that'll be monumental for decades to come. This is just the beginning, but I'm just so excited that we made it here. When we had our first conversation and they were telling me about their struggles and issues that they had in terms of just trying to navigate the system, it was obvious that we had to do something. But I told them it was probably going to take a little while, just knowing, how the systems work. But we did it, and I'm so proud to say that we're here. And I also want to thank Elizabeth Butcher, who's really been instrumental in pulling all of this together with me, and Jesus Posh as well. We're a great team. The whole DEI team, I thank you for your dedication and support as we're moving this initiative forward as well. Thank you, and at this time, I would like to invite Davin Searles. Thank you.
Obviously, I do not need that. Good morning, everyone. My name is Davin Searles. My name sign is Davin, for those here who are deaf. I'm a longtime resident of Rochester. I recently moved to Brighton myself, but I would like to thank Adam Bello, Mayor Evans, President Rahman, David Scott, and all of your teams for everything you've done within this effort to make this happen. Recognizing, first, that I am one person with all of working with everyone else. Ray, Steve, everyone else has been involved in this. And to be able to make sure that this happens and comes to fruition. And it has been coming on for several years. Diana Prince from Deaf Refugee Advocacy is here. Susan Demers from Substance Abuse Intervention for Deaf Services of Addiction for Deaf Services. Chris Campbell, everyone else who is here today. There are so many different organizations that are here today that have pushed to have this happen and to make this come to fruition. The DEC is a community-driven, focused on breaking down barriers and increasing access for deaf individuals, deaf, blind, and hard of hearing. And the DEC really has been led because of the impact. And with a partnership with our community, with our deaf community, with Monroe County, the variety of organizations that are the deciding factors within our system. That's where it all began. It's not just about raising awareness. It's about real solutions, systemic change, and ensuring the deaf community has a seat at the table. Several people have already mentioned the reason for the DEC. Everyone knows now Rochester is the highest per capita in the United States of deaf individuals. But barriers still exist. The barriers include language access. ASL is not just a preference. We need to understand that. It is a necessity. Yet most services are designed for spoken or written English. So we provide interpreters, we provide captioning and other modes of access, but that still means that deaf individuals are not getting all of the information every day. Cultural barriers. Deaf individuals have very unique communication norms, but policy and services rarely account for them. Lastly, lack of awareness. Many decision makers simply do not realize these gaps exist, leading to an unintentional exclusion. So these policies, the services, the programs, now have individuals able to be involved and discuss these barriers. Deaf individuals have been overlooked for so long. We are changing that right now. We are shaping the policies. The goal of the DEC is to go beyond compliance. Legal compliance does not include true access. We need proactive, community-driven solutions. Our deaf community is not measured by one group. We are not homogeneous. We are a diverse group. We include deaf-blind individuals, deaf-disabled individuals, deaf LGBTQIA+, deaf BIPOC, deaf professionals, seniors, veterans, and so much more. And those individuals are there for the DEC to be able to listen to them, learn from them. One size is not fit all. The DEC ensures all of those individuals will be heard and represented. By serving as a liaison between the deaf community and the city council, city and the DEC will reduce duplication of efforts and become a central point for resource sharing and process. The DEC is not only for deaf individuals in the community, it's for all of the members of our community. Let me give you an example. Fairly often when I show up somewhere and there's an interpreter there, people look and they say, oh, the ASL interpreter is here for you. No, that's not true. Without the ASL interpreter there, we would not have a conversation. Without the interpreter here today, we would not understand the ideas, the camaraderie, the cooperation that we are working on today. Interpreters benefit the deaf individual, of course, but the interpreters are there to bridge the communication between the deaf and hearing communities. And that is what DEC is going to do. We aim to improve services. When barriers are removed, government, emergency response, and healthcare services work better for everyone. This is also an opportunity for economic growth. Supporting deaf entrepreneurs and workers leads to more jobs, stronger businesses, and a thriving local economy. DEC will enhance community inclusion. A direct connection to the deaf community ensures that policies reflect real needs, not assumptions. Lastly, the DEC is here as a resource. By including and proactively including deaf voices in policymaking events, it will prevent costly mistakes and gaps in accessibility. When the deaf, deaf-blind, and hard-of-hearing individuals thrive, entire communities thrive. The DEC is about building a stronger, more inclusive Monroe County, where equitable policies, better communication, and deeper understanding benefits everyone. Rochester has long been known, as everyone has shared, the size of the deaf community. We are the largest per capita. Today, we take a significant step toward being known for our shared access. For our next steps, the DEC is now looking for members. Please join us on April 16th. Our goal at 7 to 8:30 in the Henrietta Library, our goal is the DEC to listen, to find out those gaps, to see where things are missing. What we want to do is bring together the communities, and we want to make sure that the representation is there. So joining us, as I said, April 16th, 7 to 8:30 at the Henrietta Library. To learn more about the DEC, we welcome you to be involved in our conversations. The city and the county, there are things that they don't know. There are things that we need to let them know. We're asking for your support to be able to satisfy and meet the needs of the deaf community. Once those needs are identified, when the issues are there, when we can see what is happening, that's when we are able to be part of developing the policies that will affect the deaf community. We also want to make sure that the DEC continues to operate for a very long time. And we are looking for those resources to make that happen. Finally, thank you, everyone who supported us, who has supported the individuals in this room, who have been part of this voyage throughout the years. Again, the DEC is here to benefit everyone. We thank you for this step, and we thank you for the beginning of this voyage and journey together. Now, I would like to turn it over to the president of NTID, Jerry Buckley, who has a few words to say. Wow. Seriously, wow. History is happening today. History is happening. Thank you so much. This is the time when all of America needs to stop and listen to people. And we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for listening to your community. Thank you for being here. NTID was established many, many years ago. And we have had thousands and thousands of students that have come here to Rochester to go to school. And they've gained the experience of having access to the community. Many of them come to college here, and then they make Rochester their home. Rochester, Monroe County. We graduate, we stay. Many individuals do. The community access is necessary and unbelievable. So thank you so much to Adam Bello. Thank you to Mayor Evans. And the mayor, I know that we have different signs for you for your name, but Mayor Evans, thank you. Yeah, Mayor and King have the same sign, so just letting you know. And the county legislature, thank you so much, Ms. Robbins, for being involved. Including the deaf and hard of hearing community is not just for us, it's for everyone. And it's something that we value, something we want to be involved in. And being involved means supporting the work in the future for Monroe County and the Rochester City. So thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Buckley. Thank you for your leadership in our community and your leadership at RIT and NTID as well. I want to thank all of our speakers who are here today, all of the leadership of the newly formed DEC, and for all of you for being here today. This is just so important for our community, as you've heard it over and over and over again, that our community is so blessed to be home to the highest per capita number of deaf and hard of hearing residents. And it's our obligation as public officials, and it's our obligation as community leaders to make sure that we are as accessible and open to all of our residents, and that includes our deaf and hard of hearing residents as well. So with that, again, thank you. If the media has any questions, anything we didn't cover? No? Okay, yes, hi. Sure. It is. So this is why, I'll tell you why this council is so important. It's because, as the mayor actually pointed out earlier, I am not deaf or hard of hearing, and so I don't know as an individual how best to connect with the deaf and hard of hearing population in our community. The people who know how best to connect are those individuals. And so to bring individuals together to serve on this committee and this council, to then be able to advise the mayor, advise the county executive, the county legislature, but also to advise the community and other organizations around the community about how better to reach every member of our community is so critical. We need to reach people with lived experiences who can then educate us on how better to interact with our residents. That is how government best serves its community, and we can only best serve our community if we can serve everyone who lives here. Good? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.